In 1950, there was 1 million refugees in the world. By 2008, there was 12 million refugees in the world. By very authoritative prognosis, by 2050, there will be 1 billion refugees in the world. Now, what does it mean to be a refugee? It would be out of reach of any particular laws, any particular rights. Leaving a country which wouldn't allow you to stay, to live there, to be accommodated, to be accepted, for a country which doesn't let you in, and if it does, normally the first reflection is to send you to the refugee camps, which is a place of no place, exempted from the locality. And the only meaning of being a refugee is not to be a member, of society of arrival. The figures are really terrifying. The refugee problem was relatively limited after the Second World War, with all this displacement of enormous amount of Europeans. By 1950, as I told you already, only 1 million refugees was counted. It's not on the scale which we are expecting to happen. Why it is happening? Why it is happening? It is happening simply because globalization created a situation in which every sector of the globe, every place around Earth must very rapidly modernize. The free market principle emerged victorious on the whole Earth, which means that in every corner of the planet there will be continuous production of redundant people. Redundant people are normal products of modernizing countries. The difference was that 200 years ago, in 18th century, 19th century, in good part of the 20th century, Europe was the only part of the globe which modernized, which means that it was the only country which produced redundant people. Because of this power differential, Europe modernizes, but other parts of the planet remain as before in the grips of pre-modern kind of economics. The redundant people in European continent were the only redundant. And Europe could find and found a global solution to locally produced problems. As you know, tens of millions of Italians and Spaniards and Englishmen and Germans and Frenchmen emigrated to South America, to North America, to Africa, to parts of Asia, to New Zealand, to Australia. And this handicap, this great disaster of producing a lot of redundant people in Europe was transformed, recast, recycled into European advantage. It ushered into the era of colonialism and imperialism. The countries which now start producing redundant people are not that lucky because they cannot treat the rest of the globe as an empty land like our ancestors treated America or Africa or other continents. They don't send imperial armies to conquer Italy or to conquer Britain and force us to accept them as guests. like our ancestors did. They didn't ask the natives whether they agree or not. They just came and pushed the locals aside and built their own towns and their own houses and cultivated their land stolen from the natives and so on. Therefore, global solutions to locally produced problems are no longer available, and what is more, the very production of redundant people stopped being a locally produced problem. It is the globally produced problems. If people are coming en masse to Lampedusa, to the shores of Italy or shores of France, it is not because France or Italy did something about bringing them in. It is because of things which happened far away from Italy, from France, from Germany, and so on. They were simply pushed away. They couldn't be accommodated in their country. These redundant people, how they are produced in the process of modernization. There are two industries of modernization which must result in production of redundancy. One is the order building, when the new order is introduced, which is assumed to be better than the old one which is replaced, then some people simply don't fit the new order. They can't be accommodated there for all sorts of reasons. They are religious minority, they don't want to assimilate. They hold habits and customs and cultural precepts which cannot be easily reconciled with the planned order of the new state, and so on and so on. The second factory of redundant people which is associated with modernization is so-called economic progress. Economic progress consists in doing things which you did before, only with less people and less cost, right, and quicker. So quite a few, quite a large part of the population which practice different ways of earning a living is simply out of business. They become unemployed, structurally unemployed. They can't be usefully employed in their native country. And obviously, like all rational beings, and humans are rational beings, they go away seeking bread and butter and drinking water. Right? This process is not likely to stop because of that situation. Suddenly, the pre-modern economies, which did, well, try to do their best and did it quite successfully, they assimilated their growing population inside the existing economy. In peasant economy, until quite recently, Italy was a peasant economy. In peasant economy, no one is redundant. They don't know the idea of rubbish. Everything is recycled, put back into production. And if there is a seventh or eighth child born in the family, there is a room at the table. However meager the food is, there's always room at the table, and there's always room in the field or in the backyard, in the stable. Just the work is divided among every member of the family. But with the modern economy, with the unified commodity market, there is such a thing as competition, and these less effective, less efficient ways of doing things are simply pushed away, and people who practice them find themselves unemployed, unable to earn their living themselves. That is outcome of development which took place in the second part of 20th century and which is taking place now on a very great scale. It is the triumph of free trade, triumph of laissez-faire, triumph of a modern way of life, which caused this movement of great masses of population.